Good morning.
Good morning. Good afternoon for my East
Hi.
Coast folks. Hey there.
Hi, can you see me?
I don't know who's speaking right now, but I can hear you. And hello.
Hi, it's Karemma Williams.
Yep. Hey, Karemma. We can
Hi.
see you.
You can see me?
Yes,
Okay.
we can see you and hear you. Hey there.
Hi.
Hi.
Good
Hey to
morning.
everybody that's in the room today. If you don't mind muting your mics for us, please.
Okay.
A little bit later, we're going to have some discussion, but for right now, we're all just kind of entering the space. I'd love to know where you all are zooming in from. I am zooming in from Atlanta, Georgia. I kind of wish I was on the beach right now. I wish I was zooming in from like maybe Tampa, Florida. That'd be nice. But I am zooming in from Atlanta. Hello. San Diego would be nice too, but I think, is it cold right now in San Diego? I'm not really sure. Every time I think of California, I just think about warm weather and it's just so warm and lovely, but it gets cold in parts of California. So, hey there, from Camden, New Jersey. Peter, I love the energy. I can tell you are ready for a good conversation. Excited to see you here. All right. Kingsville, Texas is 45 minutes from Corpus Christi. Thank you for that. We're going to give people just a couple more seconds to log in. We have a lot to cover, a lot to talk about, great conversation. And I hope that you all are ready and excited about being here in the space with us today. Lisa, hey there in Kentucky, Lisa. All righty. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started, get this party started. Welcome to the community of practice. If you all have been joining us every month, we're glad that you're back again. This is shifting from locking youth up to lifting youth up. And if we could move to the next slide. Hey there, Sarah and Marilyn. Hey. All right, so as a disclaimer, this session is offered by INTAC and funded by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, or SAMHSA. All of the views are of our presenters, all of the views are those of our presenters and not the official views of the US government. And this session will be recorded and posted to our website and social media platforms. So if you're into reruns and want to watch it all over again, you can, okay? In case of any security issues, we will end this session and send a separate email with information on how to rejoin. But everybody, if you're near some wood, let's knock on it because we don't want that to happen. And fingers crossed, it will not. This space that we're sharing today is intended to be interactive and engaging. And most importantly, it's a space where we can take action together. So welcome to this space where we are going to work together as a community. I want to tell you a little bit about who we are at INTAC, but before I do that, I know that many of you have participated in our events before. So instead of me telling you about who we are, I'd love to hear from maybe one or two people who would like to share with the group, what do you value most with spending time with INTAC? Or maybe you like to share a story about when you've spent time with us and experienced like an aha moment. So anybody want to share? And I'm very patient.
I'll share.
Yay! Who's that? Who's speaking?
Keisha Garza from Claiborne County down south of Corpus here in South Texas.
Hey, Keisha.
I just really like you guys' format and the breakout sessions and how we kind of get to tap into each other's energy and get some new ideas.
Nice. Awesome. Keisha, thank you so much for that. We try to do that every session and have the opportunity for us to build community together. Anybody else want to share about what you value the most about spending time with us here at INTAC?
Well, I just started. My name is Karemma Williams, but I really am really impressed of how we like all over the United States. And
Yes.
I'm not sure if y'all in other countries, but that's like a wow to me. Like, wow, I'm talking to people that's all in Texas and Kentucky and Atlanta. Like, that's awesome. I'm from Philly, by the way.
Right? Hey there, Philly. I know, right? We're all over.
Yeah, that's
All over.
cool.
So thank you, Karima.
You're
Well,
welcome.
we work with a lot of people. So Karima, like you said, we're all over the nation. We work with a lot of partners all over the nation. On the next slide, you'll see a couple of those partners that we work with to offer these trainings and technical assistance. Some of our services are like the training you're in today, but we also provide resources like 5 Things Digest, the 5 things that you need to know about children and family mental health. And we also do technical assistance. So if you are in your community and need a resource or need some advice or tips or help on something that's happening in your part of the world, you can reach out to us and we can provide what we can to support you. So we also provide that service. Our goal is that all children, youth, and young adults and families with emotional behavioral health needs can access evidence-based treatment and recovery service and a well-coordinated system of care. That is our primary goal. You can stay connected with us if that goal speaks to you. You can stay connected with us on the website there on our site on the slide, where you can learn more about what we do, who we are, and stay connected with us outside of today's session. All righty, so again, I want to say welcome, welcome, welcome. This is an interactive session. We have a lot of really wonderful conversations planned for today. We're going to kick off with the grounding with Evelyn Clark, and then we'll go into some discussions and we'll have a video. We're just going to really dig into the work today. So I want you all to give yourself permission to just put the emails to the side, you know what I mean? Like, let's put all the things that may be a distraction off to the side and stay fully engaged for the next hour and a half or so that we have together. Okay, I'm going to pass it over to Evelyn.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ashley. You always get us going, and you make me want to get free TA from the center. All right, so I'm going to start this morning with grounding. We're going to do a virtual land acknowledgement this morning, and also just grounding, and just take a moment to, a moment of reflection and honor of those who are losing their lives to police brutality in our country and into the incarceration system. Since our activities are shared digitally to the internet, let's also take a moment to consider the legacy of colonization embedded within the technology, structures, and ways of thinking we use every day. We are using equipment and high-speed internet not available in many Indigenous communities. Even the technologies that are central to much of the art we make leave significant carbon footprints, contributing to change in climate that disproportionately affect Indigenous peoples worldwide. I invite you to join us and acknowledge all of this, as well as our shared responsibility to make good of this time, and for each of us to consider our roles in reconciliation, decolonization, and allyship. We also acknowledge that this country would not exist if it wasn't for the free enslaved labor of Black people. We honor the legacy of the Black life, knowledge, and skills stolen due to violence and white supremacy. While the movement for justice and liberation is building, we continue to witness the power of the people. Many are still being met with violence and being killed. Please join me in a moment of silence in honor of Black and Indigenous ancestors who have passed and who have paved the way for us. All right. Thank you all for sitting with that this morning or afternoon. All right, so we're going to watch about a 5-minute video that's super important as we're talking today about how community is the answer. So this short art is made by the Gateways program in Washington State at the Evergreen State College with partnership with Christopher Scott. And this video really speaks to how children and youth are being groomed in the communities for incarceration and how the community does have a responsibility to interrupt this cycle. So sit back and enjoy this video, and we shall resume when it is done.
As a kid, I was told you're either gonna end up dead or in prison. I wanted to be like those people that got respect from doing stuff in the streets, because that's what I grew up to idolize. It's kind of messed up, huh? Yeah.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above, the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. When the blazing sun is gone, when nothing shines upon, though you show your little light, twinkle, twinkle all the night. In the dark blue sky you keep, and often through my curtains peep, for you never, never shines your eye till the sun is in the sky. And the traveler in the dark thanks you for your tiny spark. Couldn't see which way to go if you didn't twinkle so. And though I know not what you are, twinkle, twinkle, little star. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above, the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Like a diamond, like a diamond, like a diamond in the sky. Like a diamond, like a diamond, like a diamond in the sky. Like a diamond, like a diamond, like a diamond in the sky. Like a diamond, like a diamond, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what
kids just need somebody to believe in them. And I think that that was the problem with myself, is I didn't have anything to believe in. But at the end of the day, a kid is still a kid. And they don't need to be jailed. They need to be educated. They need to be loved. They need to be given opportunities. And they need to be given second chances.
All right, thank you everybody for taking a few minutes to watch that. I did put the link in the chat. They have great videos with young people who are currently incarcerated that share their stories. And I just wanted to say that we do want to take this space, you know, a lot of the content that we share and you'll be hearing from panelists may be triggering, it may feel pretty heavy. And so feel free to take space if you need that. We're gonna have a time to do Q&A, and we just wanna be mindful too of some of the questions that come through, especially those who've been impacted by the system itself. So we're gonna take some time to break out in small groups. Yes, Oriana, that was very intense. Thank you for that. And so with the groups, and I'm not sure the timing, so if you guys want to add that for me and tech team, but we're going to break up in small groups, and we will have you all be talking about how can you prevent incarceration in the community. So just as we watched in that video, there's more than just policing, as we're aware of, that causes this. There are other factors, so a lack of mental health services, you know, the biases and discrimination that are in services cross system. And so we just really want everybody here to take accountability and also take action on how can you prevent incarceration for our young people. All right, so I think we are ready to go. All right, you should see the breakout rooms popping up. Right. I think everybody has trickled back in. Hopefully we all had great conversation. I know in the group I was in, at the end, we're speaking to how powerful that video was. All right, so we would love to hear from a couple individuals about what you kind of talked in your group around how can you prevent incarceration in the community. And so if you want to raise your hand, that would be great. I can't see the hands because of my view right now, but.
Hi, yes, please.
ahead.
Marciela, if you could pronounce that for us. Oh, you're on mute.
I'm Maricela from
pool, heated, a fitness center.
I'm Maricela from San Antonio, Texas. And in my group, we had several probation officers from around Texas. And we're very fortunate that the Texas Juvenile Justice Department has funding for prevention initiatives. So we're working with children before they're even, with the high-risk children in schools who are truant, have behavior problems. So we have initiatives that try to keep them from being referred to our department. So we're preventing delinquency. So that's what we were talking about in our group.
Awesome, thank you. Karemma, go ahead.
Hi, I was in the group I was in, group 11. I was explaining what I would do, and I was basically trying to. I started out with talking about how I use my own story to inspire growth, which is my alopecia story, which, you know, growing up because of my alopecia and being so insecure and bullied by it, it actually landed me into juvenile facility, and I was held for a couple of days or 2 weeks. So now that I'm like out and talking about it, the way I influence my community and youth is I try to help people find their purpose and passions. So I think that if we connect with the youth and talk about what they, you know, what they think they might be interested in, so that we could try to wake those, you know, those talents or creativity up, they can like focus on that other than being out in the street or, you know, following someone that might not do them, you know, do their future well if they're like following people that's gonna have them incarcerated. So focusing on purposes and passions can, you know, shy them away from that.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right. All right, Sarah. Sarah, did you disappear? If you're talking, can't hear you.
Hey, Evelyn. So we're right at the hour mark. I wonder if we want to encourage folks to maybe write their response in the chat if they'd like, because we have a wonderful, awesome discussion scheduled today as well.
Awesome, thank you. All right, well, thank you for being willing to answer the question out loud, but as Ashley just mentioned, if you could please put it in the chat, that would be great. All right, thank you all for taking the time to do that. I know this is a very important topic as we get closer to wrapping up the series. All right, so again, hi everybody, I'm Evelyn Clark. I don't know if I said that earlier, but I work for Change Matrix, and we are a partner on the NTAC Center. And I am also a certified peer counselor, and I practiced in Washington State. I have lived experience in the incarceration system, and I really talk about in my story the way that colorism shows up. I do identify as Mexican and Native, and I understand that I'm white passing. And so when we are talking about these conversations, we do want to take in mind colorism and how that portrays within the systems that we work in. And just quickly, just wanted to share, this whole series came from my heart and the team's heart around young people who I worked with in Washington State. And just the stories and the injustices that I've seen them go through starting in the community. I worked in community behavioral health. I worked for the state, and now I'm here, and I saw the racism and the injustices play out in the community. And so that's why we're here today, is to talk about those things and how we can shift that dynamic. And so I'm super excited for today's panel. We have an incredible, just diverse set of experiences here, from people who've been impacted personally by the system to those who are now working to divert young people from even touching that system. So I am super excited. I'm going to allow each presenter to introduce yourselves. So let's start with Tawaina.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tawaina Reed. I live in Philadelphia. I work for Youth Advocate Program. Which is known as YAP. I've been with YAP for 22 years. I've worked in the juvenile justice system for 22 years, many years. I started out as an advocate. I worked in the field, hands-on with young people. Actually, one of my former participants is on the panel as well. A little bit about YAP. YAP has been a provider for 40 to community-based services for alternative to incarceration and placing young people in residential care for 48 years. In the recent years, our services have also been an alternative to neighborhood violence. YAP is a national nonprofit in 150 countries and 33 states in the District of Columbia. They also have support work of partnership organizations in Australia, Guatemala, Ireland, and Sierra Leone. YAP receives referrals from the youth justice system, child welfare, behavioral health, education, and other systems. And with our neighborhood violence and behavioral health services, referrals can come directly from families. I worked in the field with hands-on with youth as an advocate for 10 years, and I am going on 12 years as a program director of a program called the Evening Reporting Center, which is known for ERC. That is also an alternative to placement, and we're there to provide youth with services to prevent recidivism, make sure that they show up for their court hearings and no bench warrants or AWOLs. So I am still connected to our young people and families, even with being on. I'm the person that set up the curriculum and things to help them live a more productive life and to remain arrest-free. So I love working with youth and families. So I'm still going on 22 years. So thank you all.
Thank you so much for all that you're doing. It's wonderful. All right, let's go to Karemma.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Karemma Williams. I'm also from Philadelphia. And again, piggyback off of what Ms. Tawaina was saying, I connected with her through YAP because I also was detained after being locked up from school. And this, I hope I don't cry because going back, now I was 15 when everything was, when I was going through my, in school and I was being bullied and I was getting locked up and everything. When they put me with Ms. Tawaina after being detained, I could definitely say that it was a lot of, I guess I don't want to say really racist. I'm not sure I didn't really understand what was going on, but all I know is they really didn't care about what I was going through. I guess I did feel like the little black bald head girl who had just gotten in a fight. I was just another problem, but they really didn't know what was really going on. Like one time I had someone, they was drawing pictures of me, and like I know growing up I used to like, that would make me angry. Like I would do things I remember like I got up and like threw a book at a kid that was doing that. He like drew I'm not sure how they knew I was bald, but because I would hide it. But I guess you could tell because I didn't have eyelashes or eyebrows, so you could tell that something was going on with me. But they would draw pictures. One time they would draw pictures of me, and it would be like a bald girl, and it would have like arrows and where eyebrows would go here, and hair would go here, and like exposing me. So that would make me angry, and that's actually how I actually got my first case. And I met Miss Tawaina through YAP, and they actually did a lot of activities with us, and trying to they did everything to try to lift our spirits, and especially me because I didn't see any other. I'm not saying that I'm special than any other kids, but I guess my story was a little different from theirs. I wasn't robbing people or like actually doing crazy things. I was in there because I was being bullied, and I wasn't being treated fairly because it was like, well, you're just like the rest of them. And it was like, I was actually hurting real bad. So this is really like touchy for me because the whole time I actually needed, just like a lot of the youth, and we are crying for help. We don't want to be locked up. We actually need someone to really care for us and like help us. And that's how I was when I was coming up in YAP and everything. And when I was being detained, I needed help. I needed somebody to care. So
Thank you for sharing that.
thank you.
That must be really hard. And I agree with Lisa, you are beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Zaheed.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Zaheed Lynch. I'm from Seattle, and I work with an organization called Community Passageways. It's a felony diversion program out of Seattle. And so basically, like, what we do is we like work with like juveniles and young adults and help with like mitigation with their cases and stuff like that. And we got different like programs. We got the CP Fit program, which usually works for juveniles or like maybe up to the age 20. We have a street team program. We have a deep dive program that works with like usually about 16 and up, more so like gun involved, like people that's really like probably like they get like the most violent kids in the Seattle area and kind of not like they get them in like different groups and like they do like curriculum and stuff like that. We have an education program, which we do prevention work, working in different middle schools and high schools in the Seattle area. Me specifically, I work with the education program and the CP Fit program. So I work with a lot of juveniles. I also work with the referrals. So I'm the person, like when you make a referral to Community Passageways, I'm the person who reaches out and hooks up the kid to one of the community ambassadors, or might even hook it up to myself because I'm also a community ambassador. So yeah, basically the main thing we do is, the main thing I do is work alongside with the lawyers, work with the probation counselors, and pretty much advocate for the youth. If they're in the detention facility, I go in there, try to there's not too much I can do in the detention facility besides really just try to talk to them, just show them love, just, give them advice, things of that nature. But my goal is always to get them out, or allow them to get the smallest sentence possible. And so what I do is I try to hook up different services in the community, try to get them out, like on EHM or something like that, and show the prosecutor, show the judge that this kid's an asset to the community, get them involved in different things, get them back at school, get them working, get them involved with the community, to show that the state and the judge that this kid can stay in the community. He just made a mistake. He just had a hiccup. So yeah, I mean, that's basically like the gist of what I do.
Thank you so much, Zaheed. And honestly, this session itself came from inspired by Community Passageways. As you all say, community is the answer. Thank you. All right, Kalia.
Hello, I am Karemma Williams O'Neill. I am a youth project manager and support specialist at Northwest Credible Messenger. We are the Washington ambassadors for the Credible Messenger movement. We work with a consortium of partners across the state in some of our more under-resourced communities. So Kitsap County, Yakima County, essentially the counties that have very few funding when it comes to grants, but have high referrals to our criminal justice system. And we are moving to capacity. We have always been capacity building when it comes to building leaders, but we are also moving to a behavioral health model. So peer support, we are working on becoming a BHA because we noticed that something in all of our communities that was very much needed is that behavioral health unit that is supporting and healing the individual. And yeah, I'm trying to leave some for Johnny, so I'm gonna stick with that. It's nice to be here with you all.
Thank you. Johnny.
Hello, everyone. My name is Johnny Chang. I do outreach and engagement with Northwest Credible Messenger, also one of the project leads for our statewide gang intervention project. I think I can share a little bit about my why since Kalia took all of the good stuff as far as our organization. I would say that just growing up in America, right? My parents came to this country as refugees, survivors of the Khmer Rouge genocide. So I grew up with a lot of behavioral health needs, right, that weren't met, and so I think that gap in understanding what was happening to me in my community existed well into my 20s, and just being a part of the Credible Messenger movement gave me some insight into these things like adolescent brain development, trauma, and healing, because I think prior to that, like many refugees that come here, we often think that the answers to our problem lies with something like possessions or money or status. And so once I realized what was happening to me, I knew that I had to go on an internal journey before trying to do work in community, because community was something that I had initially harmed while growing up. That's what kind of led me to incarceration, right? The trauma, the unhealed, the unresolved issues that happened in my family and my community led me to prison. And so I'm still on this journey, right? And sharing my story, sharing these kind of spaces with folks like you all doing this work is my why. And so my name is Johnny Chang. I'm a father, a husband, a credible messenger. Thank you.
Wow, thank you all. Thank you all so much. All right, are you guys ready to dive in to our panel today? All right, so I have a couple of questions, but please put in your questions because we're going to allow some time to answer from the participants today as well. All right, so panelists, feel free to just jump in to the first question. So we know from the voices of the impacted and research that incarceration does not work. And you guys talked a little about this when you introduced yourselves, but what does it look like in your everyday work to help prevent the young people from entering the incarceration system? And it's not to say that the ones who have already entered are not important, but we see from their stories that the system just doesn't work. So again, community really is the accountability for keeping young people out. So can you just touch on a little bit of what you guys do to help prevent that from happening?
Okay, I'll go.
Thank you.
All right. So, like I said before, I blog and I do YouTube and everything. First of all, I'm Root Chakra K on Instagram and on YouTube, Root Chakra K, and also K Natural Ways. So both all those platforms, I basically I inspire. I'm an influencer. I like to blog about God and creativity. So I put everything in one. Another thing I like to do is I dance. So you can see that. I don't know if you've been on TikTok, but a lot of the youth, they like to dance, and I'm a really good dancer. So another thing I've been doing is I'm planning to open up like a dance studio or something just for kids or like teenagers or whatever. And I want to invite them into my space, and I want them to, like, especially the ones that like to dance, like to express their body in like a positive way when it comes to dancing. And I want to like basically have them dance their pain away. So that's my, that's how I'll want to help the community. And that's how I am helping the community. So right now I'm doing a blog and everything, but once I'm able to be able to like open those dance studios, that's the first thing I'm going to do for the community is open those dance studios for the youth. So hopefully that like kind of, I'll make it affordable or free. However, I'll help them more. However way I can help them, I will help. And that's how I'm going to do it.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, so you're speaking to those innovative ways that really help young people get involved. I think sometimes we focus on treatment and counseling, which are all super important, and especially with young people today, right? We got to speak their language, their culture.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is awesome. And you should seek some funding so you don't have to do that work for free. Awesome. Yes.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you. Any other panelists want to answer this question? So what ways you're preventing young people as a community?
I can answer it.
Thank you.
I'll just bounce off kind of what you guys both said. Like, I think like resources and everything is very vital, mental health resources and things of that nature. But like in my experience, I feel like trying to help a young person like kind of change their mindset and help them develop goals. I think that's like a huge like thing that like makes a kid actually change. Because I've seen kids like have all the resources in the world, but their mindset and what they wanted in life didn't change. And so they go back and fall into the same things. I didn't help kids get good jobs, get back into a good school, all types of things, get them back involved in sports. But like if they want something, they're still gonna do it, And so that's something like I try to kind of tackle with kids who haven't been affected by incarceration yet and kids who have been affected by it, I know like another thing I try to do, kind of like Karemma said, like I try to be like some type of kind of just show like I don't even like to call myself a role model or nothing like that, but I like to show like these young people like you can still be cool and not be like in the streets, you don't gotta be all the way square. You can still be like I'm a regular person, I'm just like I don't like to say I'm just like you or nothing like that, but like a lot of these kids they look up to people who kind of like they look up to rappers or they look up to people in the streets and that's who they want to be. They don't have no like role models who's doing like legal things, And like for me personally, I was the same way. Like I didn't have nobody like my mom, she was square, she was like a teacher and stuff like that. But my mom's a white woman, so like I loved her, but I didn't look up to her. I didn't want to be like her. I couldn't really like relate to her in that level. With my dad, he was a street guy, And so and my dad was pretty like kind of famous in the street. So everybody would come up to me, tell me about my dad. And like I kind of felt like I had to live up to that. I kind of feel like, and so even if I had like somebody who was like a good teacher or something like that. It's like I didn't want to be like them because I want to be like my dad. Or if I didn't have my dad, I want to be like somebody out here who's making money, who's doing this, who's doing that. And so it's not till I got older where I was able to even get advice from other men. Like, oh, like it's cool. It's cool to go to the gym, or it's cool to play sports, or it's cool to do this. It's cool to learn different skills. That's something that I wish I would have done as a kid. Like I wish I would have knew like it was cool to be an electrician or something. I'm seeing that now. And so I kind of just try to do that for the young people, let them know like there's different things out here that you can do that you'll probably like. So I think that's just something that I do though.
I wanted to
Yeah.
thank you for sharing things. I wanted to piggyback off of him what he said, because that's a perfect example of what we deal with in the community. As he said, he didn't look up to his mom, he looked up to his father who was in the street. So that was like big for you. And that's what YAP hires individuals who are from the communities that we work in, because they want you to be, they don't want you to be removed from what the young people are going through. A lot of times when our young participants see us, they think that we don't know what we're talking about, or y'all corny, or you don't know what I'm going through, because they see us where we're at now and not where we're coming from or where we've been. I grew up in the same neighborhood as you, but this is where you can go if you just stay focused, or if you get back on the right track. So everything that you said, Zaheed, was definitely on point with what we're dealing with, because they do idolize, they look up to people that they see on videos and on TV, but the doctor and the lawyer is not, they're squares. They don't think that they're, know anything or been through anything, because all you see is where I'm at now. And my outlook when I was in the field was to meet people where they are. And our youth need consistency. I meet you where you are. I don't judge you from what I see or what was told to me or what your disposition says. I look at you for what you show me, what you bring to the table. And then if it's something that's negative, let's see how we can help you get better and make changes, because we can do better. We all can do better. We all have room to grow. And just because I'm the person that's the leader and I'm working with you, don't mean that I have arrived. I have work to do. I got some things that I need to work on too, but let's work together. So I always feel that our young people need consistency, because a lot of them don't have that at home. They don't have that consistency in the home. There's a lack somewhere. And my job is to find out how can I, bridge the gap between where you were to where you're going to go, because I believe you're going to go somewhere. I do have faith in everybody that I come across.
Thank you guys so much for sharing that. Right, let's move on to the next question, because I know that we are kind of crunched on time. So what role, I would love to hear from Northwest Credible Messengers on this next one. What role or services do you see as the most impactful for those who have been incarcerated?
Can you say the beginning part again?
Yeah, so what kind of role or services do you see as the most impactful for young people coming out of the incarceration system?
Shoot, I mean, there's so many. Obviously, reentry supports. I think behavioral health. Right. I didn't seek out a therapist until I was in my late 30s. So, and a lot of it's due to the stigmatization, like the stigma surrounding mental health, and not only just my community, but I believe oftentimes Black and Brown communities. I think young people should be involved in any space that promotes pro-social activities. So I think really when we talk about like the village, they need the credible messenger, they need the mental health specialist, they need the workforce development person, they need the education person. And so I think what they need is community, right? But community that works together, not in silos that we often see, which is unfortunate. Um, that, where oftentimes the adults are the ones that get in the way from working with the young people. So I know in Washington State, and I think you do some of this stuff, right? Is young people have access to CPC trainings now. And so just that awareness, policy, we do a lot of policy work with young people. So I think the faster that we get young people politicized and understanding these practices that impact them, then they'll be much better suited to, or much better equipped to understand what's happening to them. So just getting the information to saying this is a piece of why you might have made some of these decisions that you didn't quite understand. So
Yeah, one of our founding principles, our North Star with Credible Messenger and our consortium is healing centered engagement. And that is founded on the principles of karma. So culture, agency, relationships, meaning, and aspirations. And really bringing that out and understanding the impacts and importance of those 5 principles in individuals and creating healing. So especially when it comes to that agency piece, as Johnny has mentioned before, really empowering youth voices when it comes to our policy work. When it comes to a project that I lead is the Healthy Masculinity Project, which discusses the impacts and importance of masculinity and how that has impacted youth in the future. So, or in our present lives. And so what we'll do is have youth lead the voices, lead the discussions, talk about those impacts. We've had focus groups in which youth actually get to have a say in the curriculum or a say in the voices, understanding that relationships produce results. And it's about being there for people and empowering the youth to be the leaders that we know that they are, right? And that aspiration piece, really working with them on their passions, making sure work is important for all of us, right? Work is a founding principle. So really fostering and being a place where they can seek work and be an active member in their society or in their communities. I mean, so often we don't feel as though we are a valued participant in our community. And that's what leads us to really disconnect relationship-wise from our community. And it's about bringing that healing back in the community and in the individual, working with their families as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, you guys are doing incredible work. I love watching them get involved in the legislation. That's something that the work I was doing when I was in direct services with young people at Green Hill School, which was super exciting. All right, and Ashley, how are we for time? Do you want to move into the questions from participants? Or are we good for another?
We can take some more questions that you have, Evelyn. I encourage people that are here with us today to drop your questions in the chat. I'm keeping an eye on the chat, and so feel free to ask away.
Great, thank you. All right, so this is the last question I have for you, which may be a big one, but I'm going to ask anyway. So again, I just keep saying community is the answer. Community needs to take accountability. We often blame, police, which is a huge factor, and there's more to that. And so we often see when these young people are committing crimes that we blame parents, we blame the kid, and yes, there is accountability that they must take, but also that we must take. And so my question for you panelists is, how can the community take responsibility for young people who are being sent to that system? So you can kind of look at that as it starts in schools, it starts in the community, it starts at, places like the Boys and Girls Club, just to say who's working there. People have biases, there's racism that still plays out. So how can people here who are involved in the community take responsibility?
I can take a crack at it. I think for me, right, there's many answers to this, but I think one fundamental piece that sometimes is overlooked is like in your own home, right? It makes me think about when you ask that question, it makes me think about intergenerational trauma. And the reason why I say that is because like I experienced some of that in my own home, right? And I think what happens is it becomes this cycle because we pick up some of these um, pieces from our parents, our families, our communities, whether it's alcohol, drug addiction, domestic violence, um, toxic masculinity, all of these concepts, right? And then what we don't understand is that there's the residuals of that. Sometimes you might think that you've overcome some of that, but perhaps you're practicing what people say is resiliency or pushing it down. And so for me, I think the connection is that we have to heal ourselves before we try to do this work. And I think you can only take young people as far as you've personally gone. And so if you're coping with trauma in an unhealthy way still, I think it's gonna impact your children, it's gonna impact the kids that you're working with. And you can only wear masks for so long. So I think one fundamental piece that I always think about is your own internal journey. But there's so many other things after that, right? But I think it starts there.
I just want to follow up on what Johnny said. I think that was like a dope way he put it because that's kind of something that I realized myself, just being like, kind of young and still like I'm not too much older than some of the young people I work with, and I've been through a lot of similar situations, and it's like I don't like sometimes us in this role we try to act like we're all good and stuff like that, but we have our own traumas and we have our own struggles even today. Not even like, oh, this is some stuff that happened 10 years ago, like things that happen today. And another thing I wanted to say as far as like how the community could take responsibility, I feel like it's being compassionate and like being understanding, like you can't just point the finger at a kid. You can't just, I hate when people say that. Or it'd be like, oh, where are the parents? Like it's way bigger than that. Uh, just like I said, my father was in the streets, my father went to prison, his father went to prison. I know like a bunch of kids where their fathers, their grandfathers, and their great grandfathers went to prison. Or their fathers, their grandfathers, and their great grandfathers have been murdered. That's huge. And so it's like, how can you like like, I don't want to say how can you expect a kid not to follow the same path, but you should at least be more compassionate to it. Because like even for like my family dynamic, I got my mom's side and my dad's side. My dad's side is like just traumatic, like prison, drug abuse. Like you can see you can see how one thing led to another. When my grandfather dealing with his trauma, bringing that into the home, my father dealing with that trauma, leaving the home at a young age, getting involved in the drug game, and the effect that had versus my mom. Like my mom's grandfather was a general in the army. My mom's parents and uncles and stuff, they all had good professions. They all were like wealthy and had money and stuff like that. So it made the pathway for my mom and that side of the family way easier than like from my father's side. So like you can't, but like if you only look like, oh, that side of the family's bad or they just make mistakes, like that's unfair because if you see what everybody goes through, you know, then you would understand it a little better rather than just being like, oh, well, where were your parents at? Oh, why'd you make that mistake? So I just think as a community, that's what we have to do. We have to be way more compassionate with people's circumstances, people's upbringing, how people's, been affected in school, things of that nature.
Can I say something?
Of course, yes.
All right, so I definitely those points were really good also. Being more compassionate. And I think now I was gonna say that, maybe our community needs to, set up more maybe job fairs to try to get them into like just try to keep them busy. But also I just thought that a lot of these children and you know the teenagers, they are being ripped away from their childhood. So a lot of them don't really know what it feels like to be a kid anymore, especially after they get incarcerated or be detained. I think that the community should come up with ways to kind of bring back that child in them, like maybe like I'm all for the creativity thing, like maybe if it's bringing out trampolines or maybe having them paint how they feel on canvases, or you know just bringing out that kid in them so they won't have to feel like they have to you know grow up so fast, or I don't know. I know for me, after I got detained, I felt like there was a lot of things that I like to do that I didn't like to do anymore, because I feel like another world has been shown to me, and that kind of ripped me away from my dancing and wanting to paint or wanting to draw and stuff like that. So I think we should come up with ways to try to pull that back out of them and letting them know that, hey, it's not too late. You're still in your youth, you know, wake that up in them.
That's beautiful. I love that you said letting them be kids. You know, that was something I worked with a lot of young people who committed serious crimes. And I would take coloring books and they would just color. Like you're talking with a young person who committed murder or robbery or assault, and you just watch them. They're kids. And then we adultify them and charge them as adults. I mean, that's a whole nother presentation, but I just appreciate that so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Evelyn, we got a couple questions in the chat. You want me to read them out to the panelists?
Yes,
thank you. Cool. So this question is for Tawaina. Tawaina, what programs does YAP bring to rural areas?
I'm sorry. I did leave in the comments that you can go to yapinc.org. Everything is there. It can show you everywhere that what we bring, every city and the different cities and places that we provide services for. We all do something different. So you can go on yapinc.org. I can put it back in the comments again, and you can see everywhere that we service, what we bring to the table in each city and state, and get all the information you need from there. But YAP we're in 33 states, countries, so we are all over. But Philadelphia, we are more of the juvenile justice system, and we, target keeping our youth and keeping our youth with their families and home. That trying to keep them we're preventing them from going into placement.
Yeah. So I know earlier you talked about expanding into new areas, or somebody put it in the chat that they're coming to Kentucky. If people are interested in being in their area, do they just reach out, or how can they do that?
I would say go on to our website. The person that y'all got in contact with, Kelly Williams, she's on here, so she will see everything that's being posted, so she can get you connected or get us connected with you. We just had a giveaway. We connected with the organization in Texas, and they came. We were the distribution location to give 200 laptops to families, youth and families in Philadelphia. Now they're from Texas. Why did they pick Philly? I have no idea. But I just so happened to make the connection with them. And they came 2 years in a row. They gave out laptops. It was like a lottery, and you were able to get laptops. Well, now they're working on something in Texas with YAP. So it's just that simple. It's all about making the right connections. So yes, please feel free to go onto our site. I know that our PR person is involved in this, and she will be looking to answer any questions or how we can make the connections and build the bridge the gap between from city to city, state to state, whatever we need to do to help our young people, because it's everywhere. I know when you live in one place, you think it's just your city, but it's everywhere you go. We have, this is an issue. And I said in our breakout room about the village, we lost our village. What happened to the village? When I was growing up, your neighbor could say something to you. Now, you dare not. Your neighbor say something to you and you might get cursed out. Your teacher was able to discipline you, but we have lost those times. Like we're not living in that era anymore. And how can we bring that back? How can we bring back that village to, make sure that everyone is safe, not just your own child. You look out for everybody. And when I was in the field, I treated my, girls and guys. I worked with males for a while as well, but I treated them like I would want someone to treat my kids. So if I had you out all day, I'm going to feed you. I'm never going to send you home hungry. And Karemma is a witness to that. I mean, I've had girls and males that said, can I just stay a little while longer when they went back to court? Well, it's time to go. I had to kind of push Karemma off. Like, Karemma, it's time to go. You've been with me for, from 15 to almost 18. And I, at one point I just said, it's time for her to go. I'm going to always be in your life. You don't have to.
I was almost 20.
Well, I was trying to, she was almost 20. But when she left, I remained in her life. And I actually, once she was discharged, I took her on her first trip. So she had never been on a plane, and I took her to California on her first trip, and she became my family. So I kept my number the same for 20 something years, almost 30 years, just so they can still get in contact with me, because even as an adult, you still want that consistency. You might have that one person that was consistent in your life, and that's what they need.
Tawaina, I feel like one thing that's been a shining light for me, what I'm seeing from you, is being genuine and that authenticity. Like, it's real. It's not like I got to do this for my job. I got to do this for whatever. There's a realness to it that I think is really what also makes things effective.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm a true believer that, we get people that come in and say, oh, I think I can do this. You can't just do this if you come in just to get paid. This is something you have to love and have a passion for. You have to have all these people on this panel. Some of you may have experienced some of the things that we're talking about, but it's something in you that has to be a passion in you to want to do it, because it's never enough money to work with, to come into somebody's life at 15 and don't know where they're coming from and what they've been through or where their background, to say, oh, I'm going to do this for a paycheck. It's not enough. And I am a true believer of, I think everybody has, there's something good in everyone. You just got to find that what can bring it out, or that person that can help you tap into your greatness. So I do love what I do, and I do have a big heart for all of the young people that I came across over the last 22 years. And as you see, I'm still in contact with Karemma.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
I thank you for being here. I'm happy to be a part of this.
Yeah.
And meeting so many people.
Yeah, there's a couple of the questions that we got some time to do it. This is for the whole panel. This person wants to know, what materials or trainings do you think will be good for healing both ourselves and the others we are around? What have you used? What have you done for that healing work?
Did I go? Who's gonna go?
It's open. The floor is open.
Okay. So far, I did try, and what I think that we should do more of. I don't know if you guys like meditation, but I think like like listening to yourself breathe and just, just stepping back from everything that's going around you and just breathing and just letting go. And it's easier. It sounds easy, but if you really just allow yourself to just sit in silence, I really think that it helps with a lot of anxiety and mental depression and everything. And kids love it. I do it with my daughter. She loves it. So I really think that maybe schools should try that at gyms or the community, maybe some type of recreation center should, bring in like meditation or yoga and stretching, and I think the kids will love that.
I love that, Karemma.
Yeah.
Anything else from the panelists?
Yeah, at Credible Messenger, we do a number of trainings, so feel free to reach out to either I or Johnny, and we can connect you guys with a Credible Messenger in your area, or us if you're in our area. But also a material that we use a lot is the 4 Pivots, by Dr. Jen Wright. I have my book, but you can't see it. And this is, if you're doing the work, I think this book is just so absolutely important, because it's all about that reflection work, those mirror moments, looking through the mirror instead of a lens. It's about your self-reflection and you as an individual, especially with the work that we do. It's hard work, and that means that it's hard to step away from because you love it so much, but there's a lot of self-love you need to give yourself, a lot of boundaries you need to put up for yourself and your own well-being. And this book was a moment where it's like, yeah, I like the way this book is told. It's just a lot of reflection moments that you can have as you're reading it, a lot of self-reflection you can have, and a lot of understanding you as an individual and like what you need to do to be your best self. We recommend it all the time. We're about to have all of Washington reading this book, so please join us. 4 Pivots by Dr. Jen Wright. I believe Johnny just put it in the chat, and I will put our emails in the chat shortly. Oh no, he did the podcast. I'll have the book in the chat in a second.
Yeah, so Kalia, that book is the 4 Pivots by
Dr. Sean Jenwright.
Dr. Sean Jenwright. Okay. And then there's a podcast that Johnny dropped in the chat. Okay, are there any other questions? These have been really great. We got time for probably 1, maybe 2 more. Okay, question for Zaheed. How did you set boundaries with peers when you got connected to the supports you were connected to in order to begin making healthier decisions?
To be honest, when I got married, that kind of set the whole tone, because like before I got married, I was like working like 24/7. Like if a kid called me at 3 a.m, he needed something, I'd be there. And so, and I felt like, I mean, that's just how I am as a person, my family, like I suck at boundaries. So like when I feel like somebody needs me and I'm able to do it, I always just put the person's needs before my own. And so when I got married, my wife was not really digging all that, even before I got married, she was kind of like setting the tone. But like when I get home, it's work is off, I got to put the phones away, computers away, emails away. And so that kind of like helped me set the boundary, but it's still hard, because when certain things happen, it's like they're like your family, So it's hard for you to like say no to family. It's hard for you not to answer the calls at certain times, But yeah, shout out to my wife. I give it to her.
I love that. And let's see, Oriana, you dropped a resource in the chat. You want to tell us a little bit about that real quick, the Flourish Agenda?
Sure. It's Sean Jenwright's organization, or one of the organizations that he's a part of, that offers like different levels of training and support for adults who want to support young folks in healing beyond trauma. Educators, youth advocates.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Okay, it looks like we've covered the questions in the chat. Before we wrap up, I want to tell you all a little bit about what's next. We have 2 more of these sessions coming up soon. We're going to put the presentation up so you can get those dates. But if you've already registered, then it should already be on your calendar for the next 2 sessions. Evelyn, I know you have this quote that you want to also share. The greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate actions of its members, by Coretta Scott King. And we heard a lot of that from our panelists today, and we saw that in the chat today too. So again, like I said, 2 more sessions coming up, March 7th, April the 11th, talking about peer support and family peer support. So we hope that you will come back for those. Make sure you're on our listserv so you don't miss anything. We have so many different trainings and events and things happening every month on different topics. So make sure that you're not missing those. Also, we have a summit coming up soon, May 9th through the 11th. This is totally free, y'all. It's virtual. We got some really dope keynote speakers lined up, really awesome presentations lined up. So make sure you register for this free summit. It's going to be May 9th through the 11th, totally virtual, all the way online. So we hope that we see you there. We'll drop in the chat that link to register also, but it's on the screen. Last but not least, we are also raffling off a book called Burning Down the House. Burning Down the House, The End of Juvenile Prison. This is a nationally acclaimed book that really digs deep into the stories of young people abused by the system that was intended to protect and quote unquote rehabilitate them. So it has some really good innovative programs that it talks about in the book, providing effective alternatives that are in the book as well. And we are going to have a book discussion with the author, Nell Bernstein, later in this spring. I think it's April, don't quote me on the date, but we will have a book discussion with the author so she can talk about more what's in the book. So make sure you respond to the survey. When you respond to the survey, that automatically puts you into the raffle for the book and the book discussion. I want to thank our panelists today. Thank you all so much. The Bitly isn't working. Okay, we'll make sure that you have that. We'll make sure that you have that in the chat in just a second. But we want to say thank you all to everyone for coming out today. Thank you to our panelists. Thank you to Evelyn for sharing your stories and for just talking with us today. There is a survey that will show up at the end of this session. We'll also email it to you. Please help us out. Take the survey so that we can make sure that we are providing you all with training and materials that you need and that you want in your community. So the survey is the way that you can let us know about that. I think that's everything. Anything from you? Evelyn, you want to close us out with anything?
Yeah, no, just again, thank you so much for joining the series. If you just now joined, we would love to connect you with the previous sessions. They've been recorded. We've heard some from amazing subject matter experts, from young people who are currently incarcerated doing the work, to last session, we had a session around racial trauma and the impact of racism and how that plays into all different services that push young people into this system. So yes, so feel free to reach out to us if you want to grab those. And again, thank you. We'll see you next month.
Thanks, y'all. Bye.